Welcome to PolyCast, a civilization podcast focused on game strategy.
CanusAlbinus,
Makahlua,
TheMeInTeam,
MegaBearsFan,
with guest co-hosts
Drusain. Hello and welcome to PolyCast episode 330. I'm TheMeInTeam and I am joined by Canus.
Is this the part where something's supposed to happen? I keep
Allegedly.
forgetting. I keep forgetting this part. I gotta remember to come up with something clever. Maybe something about moist towelettes.
Regularly late co-host Makahlua.
please hold. Skype is updating for technical difficulties.
MegaBearsFan?
Oh, I guess we're talking about Civ now and not Dark Souls?
Possibly. And Drusain.
So I am making an edict. If since Dan's not here, we're going to purposefully pronounce Dannisaries as Dannisaries today.
Oh boy.
That'll be fun.
Wait, are they good units or bad units? Because depending on your answer, I'm not sure I'll agree with this.
I think they'll say, "I'm sorry," when you try to attack them.
Every time you do anything with them.
No, it'd be when they try to attack you. Oh, so sorry.
Isn't that like the Civ unit, though?
No.
Or the Canada unit?
They should replace it when they kill a unit. That's when they say it.
Yeah.
'Cause that's when it would be the most vexing.
Yeah, that's what I was going for.
Yeah. Sorry, not sorry.
We can move on to the news section now.
Which is assigned to Mackie, which...
We can...
Yeah. Somebody else start that one and I'll pick up another topic in a minute. I'm trying to get the doc open on the computer.
All right, I guess she and I can swap the Ottomans for Sweden then.
Yeah.
All right, so I think since our last recording, a couple new civilizations have been announced for the Civ 6 Gathering Storm expansion. And one of them is Sweden with its leader, was it Christina? Is that her name?
Yes.
And it looks like Sweden is going to be a science-oriented civ. Well,
Diplomacy.
the post says cultural
Diplomacy and
so
culture, but not bad in science.
yeah, I would imagine they'd be pretty good at science too. But yeah, I was preparing for Ottomans, so I've got to
Right.
do the post written real quick. So they get extra great work slots. Oh yeah, that's definitely culture-oriented, unless they're getting science from those great works. And they have bonuses that allow them to settle on as many varied terrain types as possible, and if you build an open-air museum, which is their unique, I think, improvement, right? Not district or building.
Yeah.
You get bonuses, I think, for the terrain, I think is something that I heard. I don't know.
There's some
Culture and
sort of
tourism and loyalty.
Yeah, they open air something?
Museum.
And you get +2 culture and tourism once you reach flight. For every type of feature, or not feature, but really type of terrain that you have between, let me get this off the top of my head, tundra, snow, grassland, desert, and I'm missing one.
planes.
Plains, yes. So I expect that most civs are going to have, or most cities are going to have maybe 2 or 3 of those. And so you'll want to lock down and get +2 get +4 or +6 culture and tourism for each city. That works.
Are they locked?
That's not how it
one
works.
per city, like Scotland's golf courses?
One per city, and also it doesn't matter how many different types of tile there are in each city. It only matters that there is a city in the empire founded on that terrain type. So if you have 5 cities that are each founded on a different terrain type, they all get plus whatever the max is.
And it has to
Right.
be the city center or just any tile that the city
No,
owns?
anything in the city, but it's not going to happen where you're not going to have, or rather, you're not going to have all 5 in one city, or at least unless it's really, really weird.
Well, you don't want all 5 in one city. You just want one city in your empire to have its center on that type, and it affects all of them in the empire.
Man, snow would just kind of suck. But I guess you can do it.
Yeah, but you only really need one hex of it, right?
Yeah.
You can do what the AI does and put that crappy little city up in the tundra, which probably would turn out to have oil later.
Well, I guess if it makes all of your open-air museums better, maybe it's worth it.
Yeah.
Just to have that pop one city that's
Steal
on
a settler, take
Yeah.
a city, either way.
Because if you have 3 of those types, you can get a decent amount of culture if you lock that down. That's fine. I like it. It's a lot better than some of the other unique improvements I've seen in the game, including the golf course, actually, which is a similar one where you can only have one per city.
Yeah, and it doesn't get its bonus from water parks, which kind of sucks because water parks and entertainment complexes are like interchangeable for like everything else in the game. But, oh well. What else does Sweden get? They get a Queen's Bibliotech unique building, which looks like it's a government plaza building. I don't know if it replaces any of the current buildings or if you
doesn't replace it. It doesn't replace it, but it does take up that slot.
So you have a choice between 4 buildings instead of just 3?
Yes.
For the second government type, so it means you have to choose between that and like the foreign intelligence, for example.
Right. Yeah, the one that gives you extra spy, and then I forget what the other 2 buildings do.
There's a
There's a religion one, right?
Yeah, and something else.
A conquistador one, I think.
But I think by the time you get to that point, you'll decide whether or not you're doing a culture victory or not. If you're not doing culture victory, then you don't do that one. But we can still talk about the Queen's Bibliothèque if you are doing a culture victory, which...
unless you get some modifiers that gives you like other yields from Great Works. So if you're getting something else from the Great Works, then maybe it's worth doing regardless of victory type.
Yeah.
2 Great Works slots for any type of art. Next.
And it should be noted that anything that has Great Work slots that goes up to 3 Great Work slots will be automatically themed, and wonders that have 2 Great Work slots will automatically be themed. So,
and that is part of Christina's ability, right?
Yes, which is kind of funny if you are a hardcore England fan, because they took that ability out of England and then gave it to Sweden. So.
Which I would assume means England's getting a new ability. Do we know what that is?
Yeah, they're getting +2 extra resources of iron and coal per turn from mines and such like that.
Oh, right, okay.
It's probably better for building units anyway, but...
Well, it just makes them not as artistic anymore.
I don't know if it's better or not.
Well, I guess we won't know until we find out, how hard it is to get decent stockpiles of resources and build lots of units.
You get like 1 or 2 per turn from a mine, so I think they get double.
Yeah, and I don't know how much units cost, or whether there's upkeep, or whether buildings consume any of these resources, so...
It hasn't seemed to have been a problem in the streams so far, where it's like, oh man, we can't get this resource that we want, so I don't know.
Don't they always kind of set up the streams
a little
with
bit.
A specific map and stuff like that?
Yeah, they seem to do a little bit of that. I know that they don't start in the ancient era, but there's also, I guess, the potential for England to trade off resources. But we're not talking about England today.
Right. So anyway, we were talking about Christina's ability, Minerva of the North, which is extra Great Work slots in the... well, no, it's not extra Great Work slots, but if you have 3 or more in any building, it's automatically themed, and any wonders that have 2 are automatically themed when both are filled. That's very cool culture power. And then the civilization ability is Nobel Prize. When earning a great person, Sweden receives additional diplomatic favor. I don't know if we know how diplomatic favor works yet.
A little bit now. Would you like me to tell a little bit?
Sure.
From the streams, I got a lot more information about this, and that you generate diplomatic favor by your government type.
Similar to envoys?
No, it's more like if you have a level 1 government, then you are generating 1. If you are at your level 4 type government, then you are getting 4. But also, and this is why you're going to want more alliances in your game, if you have an alliance with someone who has a level 2 government, then you're also generating 2 diplomatic points per turn, as well as, whatever your alliance member is also getting. So you're going to want alliances. You're going to want to get those diplomatic favors that you can spend them.
You also get 1 from suzerain of each city-state.
Yeah, there's suzerains bonuses. There's some wonders, I believe, that also give you diplomatic points. So there's some stuff, but the ones that really caught up to me was your government type and your alliance's government type, so to get most of your diplomatic power.
And do we know what we use it for?
For spending stuff for the sessions, which appear to come every 25 turns in the World Congress on standard speed, and not including any special emergencies that come up.
Oh, do they tie the emergencies to the World Congress mechanic?
No.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
When you trigger an emergency, the World Congress gets together for a special session, and they decide. They have one thing that they're allowed to decide on, and that's whether or not to declare an emergency. Anyone who votes to declare an emergency and it passes are the ones who you're going to fight. And anyone who votes no will not be involved in the emergency.
Right. It's a special session.
Yeah.
That sounds like a neat way of triggering them.
And something interesting about that as well is I don't have the exact idea of how this works, but like if you try to pass something and you fail, you get your Diplo points back.
Yes.
And the thing about that kind of makes me think, that's kind of weird, is that kind of makes me think about rubber banding.
It was designed such that one nation couldn't completely dominate and have nobody else any chance.
Yes, that's what it said on the stream. But the first thing I thought was, that sounds like rubber banding. But now that we have the numbers, Christina being able to get 50 every time she gets a great person sounds pretty good.
Yeah, that does sound like a lot.
So she'll probably be able to control a little more than you normally would, because it seems that each vote costs 10 diplomatic points, but also if you want to raise the amount of votes you specifically get, you get a rising number. Like it's going to rise if you try to get 2. If you try to get 3, it's going to be even higher. So,
It's an exponential system.
Yeah, exponential. So you can force a vote if you really want to, and Christina's a good candidate for that.
Oh, so you can vote multiple times on a single thing if you want it to pass? Is that what you're saying?
Everybody can, but each vote past the first one costs extra diplomatic favor.
Okay.
Yeah,
and every subsequent vote increases the amount of favor you need to cast it.
And that includes voting yourself as the world leader, where you need to get 10 votes to get that. And some of that can also be through the tech tree, some of it through wonders, apparently. But a lot of it is just being able to use favors to make yourself the world leader. So they explained a little more about how the diplomatic victory works.
You need 10 victory points, and you get those by special session voting or World Congress voting. And Statue of Liberty gives you a victory point.
Yeah, that was interesting to hear.
So you have to get the diplomatic victory slowly over time rather than it just being one vote and the game's over.
Yes.
That is a much better way of handling that.
Oh, yeah.
The World Congress also starts in the medieval era.
Yes.
So...
Oh, it's not tied to meeting all the civs in the game?
That's correct.
No, it is start the medieval era and you're ready to go. No. Even if you haven't met the person.
So Apostolic Palace for free, right?
Well, I don't think they start... I don't remember. Did they start telling when you can start the world leader thing? It's probably modern. I don't know.
I think it was industrial.
Maybe. But yeah, you're not going to have the points until quite a while, I'd imagine.
You can also trade it like you could trade diplomatic favors in Beyond Earth. Basically, you trade it for something and they'll give you a certain amount of stuff for it.
Yeah, it's like a currency. But, by doing that, you, of course, forfeit your ability to do your edicts in the World Congress. So you got to balance what you can do. It's just like gold, except a little more what you're going to do with it. Sweden also has a few other things.
Right. Apparently they get extra great engineer points and great scientist points from factories and universities, respectively. And they get some unique World Congress competitions in the industrial era if Sweden is in the game. So I'm assuming that's going to work kind of like the Civ 5 had like the World's Fair and the International Space Station, stuff like that. I'm guessing maybe it's things like that.
Board competitions, basically.
Yeah, and there's 3 of them, and we've seen one of them pretty clearly, and Ed said the other 2, but I don't remember them. But the one that we've seen a lot is, I don't remember the name of it, but she can force she can vote for this World's Fair. I don't remember what it's called, but it makes the leader generate more great musicians and great people in general.
That would be the Nobel Prize in
Nobel
Arts.
Prize.
Does Sweden get to decide when these competitions come into play, or do they just automatically happen?
It seems to be that when a special session, or not when a normal session occurs, that happens every 25 turns. At the bottom, she can vote for that to start.
Okay, so she has like control, so she can start it when it's best for her.
It seems to be, yes.
That could be powerful.
Yes, because she'll be able to say, okay, I'm going to roll up my campuses, and okay, now we're ready to go.
Yeah, I've got all the infrastructure in place. Now we can start this competition.
Now we can start. Yeah. So she'll have a little bit of a say in whether or not she's going to get that win on that. But it's not, it's not automatic, and that's nice. She can trigger it, but not win it. I think the other one might have been city-state related. I don't remember. There were two other ones.
Well, the other ones were, there's the Nobel Peace Prize, the Nobel Prize in Arts and Nobel Prize in Science.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't remember what they all do specifically.
Yeah,
let's see if Well of Souls
kind of glossed over it in the stream, and I don't remember it at this point. Oh well. But one thing that also helps for that particular Nobel Prize thing is that factories and universities give you 2 great people points instead of just 1.
That was where I was getting the science flavoring from, because I saw the extra great scientists and I thought, oh, she must be a science civ.
Right.
And then I didn't look at the rest of the stuff.
Well, that's fine, but it does help her get closer toward that Nobel Prize thing, so she's going to get more great people out of it. And that's why she's a pretty good candidate for the diplomatic victory. The thing is, though, like a lot of people are saying, oh my gosh, she has way too many powerful bonuses, but the way I see it, in order to... They're saying, oh my gosh, she's a cultural powerhouse. She's got science, great sciences, and she's got the engineers. The way I see it, though, good luck trying to put that in every city and also be able to afford it. Because in order to really focus on that, you want your main cities to have commercial hubs, you want campuses, you want industrial zones, and you want theater squares, and that's 10 pop.
If you try to do everything, you're not going to do good at any one thing.
Right. And that's not including the 1 pop that's going to be maintaining the open air museum.
One thing that she might be real good at is she might be good at kind of staying in contention for every victory, and then like at the end of the game, like being like, all right, I'm going to settle on 1 and go for it.
Right. And I think that's one of the really good, strong things about the bibliothèque is that by the time you get there, you can get an idea of, okay, which one am I going to go for? Am I going to go for culture? If not, then I can... go for the foreign intelligence one instead, and that's good.
It seems like a lot of Sweden stuff is pointing. I mean, you get some culture in the beginning from the open air museums, and when you get to that point, but their advantages seem to cut in medieval to industrial or later. You still have to have Sweden survive the first part of the game before you really get powerful.
Right.
Yeah, they seem like a powerful late game civ.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, so they're pretty good at culture, diplomatic, and science victories. How about faith or military? What's their unique unit? The Karolian is an anti-cav unit, so that already doesn't sound promising.
Well, I like it.
Replaces the pike and shot, which sounds like a new unit. Looks like there might be a picture there. Is that the pikeman with a gun?
We've had pike and shot for a while.
It's from Rise and Fall.
Oh my goodness! Well, that just shows how often I build anti-cav units in Rise and Fall.
I'd
forgotten that was in the game.
It's a counter to the Knight, which we didn't have previously.
Right. It was a good addition, but I still rarely ever build them because anti-cav units generally aren't that great. So Sweden gets a unique one. Hopefully they are better balanced than in the vanilla game or Rise and Fall, so that it's more useful. And it has faster movement and receives additional combat strength for each unused movement point. So if you're standing on a tile and you attack, then I guess you're stronger.
The exact numbers, if I recall from the video, was you get 1 extra movement, which is quite nice because you have a melee, essentially, unit doing 3. And it seemed to be plus 3 combat strength per unused tile. So it kind of reminds me a lot of the Winged Hussar, actually.
Yeah, does that include when you are defending? So if you're fortified in a fort on a hill, do you get the fortification bonus plus bonuses for the fact that you didn't move?
I don't know, but since you didn't move, I don't think you get it because it's only if you move.
Okay.
Didn't want you to take this unit around and go hunting down the cavalry.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. It's a really good way to deal with knights. Definitely, I like it because it's like the first unique unit that actually has extra combat strength in this expansion so far. Like the Mali, or sorry, not the Mali. Not the Moroccans. The gold one, is that Mali or
Mali? Yeah,
it's the Mali, and Canada also don't have actual strength bonuses, and that kind of annoys me.
I think the Canadian one did have a strength bonus if it was near national parks.
Yeah, if you're near a national park inside your borders, yes, okay. The thing I don't like about that Canada thing is like you're expected to go out and save people in emergencies, but you don't actually have any combat bonus to go with it. But whatever,
guess
that's
unless
Canada.
The person you're trying to save has a lot of national parks, and that's why you're trying to save them. Canada seems like a save the whales civilization.
I'm just imagining a Mountie just like jumping on top of a national park just to save it for the emergency. That's weird.
Yeah.
But I like the unit.
Yeah, the is one of the not having faster movement is one of the things that oftentimes stops me from building anti-cav units, because you got to just camp them somewhere and hope that the anti-cav runs into them, because you sure as heck are not chasing the knight down.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're, using zone of control and, you've got that sort of thing set up. But, a lot of times just like, well, I can't get to the knight, so there's no point in having this unit. I'd rather just have another knight.
Yeah, unless you've got the map I got last weekend playing during TurnCast, where I had 2 narrow mountain passes that I could have blocked Poland off from if they'd survived long enough to have the Hussars, and I could have poked the Carolinians or pike and shot in there and went, yeah, try and come at me, bro.
Yeah, if you've got a bottleneck, then the anti-cav units are pretty good, especially if you can take the, because they're also flexible, because if you know that your opponent is coming at you with melee units, then you take the promotion that gives you bonuses versus melee units, and then you're in pretty good shape there.
So overall, thoughts on that one?
Sounds pretty powerful, very versatile.
Yeah. something to counter knights, because at the point the AI gets those can be really annoying.
Yeah,
I thought it was safe, but the knight rushed in. Crap.
It's always nice to have a good counter to knights.
Oh, I'm not convinced.
Really?
No?
Well, it's an anti-cav unit, which means that you're going to have to use anti-cav unit line consistently if you're building this.
Yeah, that is a thing where you actually have to start with spears instead of warriors.
Yeah, they aren't so good against a lot of things. And then once you're done with your unique pike and shot, what are you going into again? And it's usable, maybe, but I don't know that I would call it powerful. It'll be a different thing if you want to play with it rather than just doing the same melee or knights all the time.
I think the innate combat bonus plus the speed makes it so I would still use it for a little while. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I still wouldn't kick it out of bed.
We'll see. I think it's okay. I would not say it's strong.
No, I'm not saying it's really strong. I'm just saying it's better than some of the other unique units I've seen in this expansion.
Maybe.
Okay.
Some of them with units that you would normally use or that are already pretty good in their base form. So even a small bonus on them means that they're even better just by merit of being something you'd use regularly.
Yeah, so you're saying that instead of it turns a mediocre unit into something that's viable to a normal warrior.
Yeah,
or not a warrior, but the warrior line.
It'd be nice against Night Spam, though. And Night Spam is, at least in right now, quite strong. So
yeah, and I was in the we'll get to the Ottoman stream, but I saw, there's still the AI still loves knights. They love pumping only knights. So
well, now that they have the way that the new resources work, they can rebalance that by maybe making knights more expensive, so you can't field as many of them. In terms of resource cost.
That's true.
The Ottoman stream was fighting Hungary, which had their unique unit that was a knight, wasn't it?
There was a little bit of Black Army, but there was like 60% were just knights from what I saw.
Did we cover the stream sufficiently, or do we want to talk more about that specifically? Because I actually have not gotten around to watching the streams yet.
The one thing... Oh,
yeah.
Phil, did you watch it?
No, I don't watch the stream. I don't know.
Okay. Then there were a few things that I picked up that I really liked. Pillaging actually scales now. What they showed was, this was Renaissance, and some pillaging was actually doing yields up to 180, 200. It was actually scaling properly, so that I think Ed was saying if you pillage, you should be getting about the yield of about 1/8 of a tech or civic. Yeah, it's not 25 at turn 200 now. No, it's scaling, so it's actually helpful at any time.
In the early game, it's almost half a tech, though, because the way it scales, it's worth more in the early game, and in the later game, it becomes less useful, but it doesn't need to be as useful because there are more total tiles on the map to pillage. But they said
it's not static anymore.
The tech cost goes up at a rate of 25 times over the game, whereas the rate of pillage goes up by 10 times.
So that was in the video, and that was really exciting. Another thing in the video was, I guess I talked a little bit about with the Civ, the diplomatic overview, but alliances contribute 1-to-1 with Diplo favor. So if you don't ally with everyone, or you don't ally with anyone, and other people do, then you're never going to get the Diplo power to really get your stuff passed. So you're going to want alliances.
Do we know if you get anything just for declared friendships?
I don't think that came up.
They won't go against you in emergencies, probably?
Well, I mean, you get, is it one favor or something for a friendship?
I don't think so.
I think only alliances have anything to do with the Diplo stuff.
Can you ask the other Civs to vote on specific things? Do we know that? Because that was in, I think, Civ 5, right? You could bribe them to vote your way in the Congress?
Ed was actually kind of trying to avoid that question, but I think his answer was no. His answer was basically you can know what's going to happen, but you can't change what's going to happen.
Like you could go to them and ask them what they're intending to vote.
Yeah, because actually in the diplomatic screen, you'll be able to see, I guess if you have enough diplomatic visibility, it'll show what they're leaning toward before the vote happens.
So another use for spies.
Yeah, and maybe there's no direct way to influence them, but maybe we have other ways through spies or doing things that will push them the other way, perhaps. I don't know.
But I don't think you can actually directly affect it.
Yeah, you can't go slide a stack 100 gold. Here, you could vote for me on the Nobel Peace Prize, right?
Right. I think that was probably a bad design in Civ 5 that I think they don't want to do that in Civ 6 again.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, gold was way too powerful in Civ 5 for everything, for city-states and bribing other civs. And
it's still pretty useful now.
Well, part of it is because you vote on the World Congress thing in the same turn that it comes up. There's no turn rollover for them to do that.
Well, and also, if I remember correctly, the World Congress in Civ 5 was each civ only got one vote, right?
Until later in the game, yeah.
Yeah, and then, well, I think it was still that way, but you could just... No, never mind, I'm wrong.
Well, but it was like an even number of votes, right, for every civ? Like, yeah, you got more to spread around different things, but I think everyone had, like, the same or about the same. So at least in this, you can, like, stockpile votes. So even if you're not able to influence another civ to vote the way you want to vote, if you really want something passed, you can stockpile the favor or apparently trade for it, sell them resources, money or whatever in exchange for diplomatic favor, and then use that to get it passed.
Yeah, you can stockpile your Diplo if there's going to be something you really, really want in the future as well.
A few little tidbits from the stream. We get better map pins. Tunnels can be used by the barbarians, so that'll be fun. Tunnels cannot be pillaged.
Yeah, as I was going to say, luckily they can't be pillaged, though, so...
There are some...
automatically kills the unit inside.
There are some policies which make it easier to spoil someone's diplomatic victory. Christina's agenda is she likes great works, like Pedro likes great people. And there
she's gonna do like Pedro and pop in and taunt me all the time for not having great works from like turn 1?
Yeah,
probably.
Well, I mean... well, she doesn't have any, then she can't be talking about you either.
And then, of course, Congo's going to come by and ask why you haven't spread your religion to him yet.
Speaking of religions, there are no new preset religions.
No new great people.
Apparently Norway gets a buff.
Yeah, but they didn't really show it, if I don't recall.
The pillage was the Norway buff.
I think they also said that I was about to say the next one, but the only other civ we haven't seen yet is Phoenicia, so apparently they have another pillaging thing, but I don't know, we'll figure it out.
Yes, the overly heavy-handed purple tie and purple pillow was kind of obvious, but, like during the Sweden stream, they had books about the Ottomans on the table, and one of them was resting their feet on an Ottoman.
Bump. Speaking of things we're resting our feet on, Ottomans. Yes, thank you, phone. I know I need to drink water. Everybody's favorite, Suleiman. Silly man. Yeah, exactly. His particular unique ability is the Grand Vizier, which unlocks a special governor, Ibrahim, who has his own unique promotion tree, and it's the only governor you can establish in another civilization. I think this also has to be, you can't be at war with him, right? With him.
And it must be the capital.
Don't think I am going to have to go to Well of Souls. Does it have the details?
I am a little bummed that this makes it seem like the existing diplomat governor cannot be placed in other civilizations, because that's something that I wished Rise and Fall let you do.
Personally, I want the Civ 5's espionage system back, but...
we'll discuss among yourselves while I try to get the page to come up.
I'll give you a link.
I can start. I mean, I think it's really good that Firaxis designed a domination Civ that's actually creatively different than other domination Civs. I mean, there's been a lot of previous domination Civs that were just like, okay, we're going to give you a better swordsman, and we're going to give you something that helps your amenities, and we're done here. I like that the Ottomans have a lot more creativity into it with the governor. I like having earlier privateer unit. I like the Dannisary unit. And
you broke the rules.
You're right. I don't think I told Mackie. We're going to call the whatever.
The Dannisary, that's fine. We'll rename it. Dan's not here, we're renaming things.
Mm-hmm. It makes me want to build catapults, which normally I don't usually like the catapults. I'd rather use archers. but catapults, one of the promotions that you get from the unique governor is plus 10 bonus against districts
Within 10
on the
tiles.
side within 10 tiles, which is quite a lot. If you have if it's next to a neighboring city, you're going to get it. And also you have plus 5 on the other side of the tree is plus 5 combat bonus against when you're defending against an attack, which is good because the Ottomans don't really have any bonuses otherwise toward being attacked by the Aztec, or you have to attack the Aztec, or Macedon, or Scythia, or Nubia, or something like that. So it's nice to have that particular part of the governor tree to get plus 5 combat on defense. Gives you an opportunity to take your first city, which you kind of want by the time you get to the Renaissance, so that you can get your Janissaries. The Dannisary can be created without that pop cost in 2 conditions. Actually, I learned today. We already knew that if you do it in a city that you've captured, you don't lose the pop cost on the Dannisary, but you also can upgrade swordsmen to Danissaries and not lose the pop, which I was not expecting that. I was expecting that any upgrade would
also cost that. But see, it doesn't know necessarily where it came from, so it can't assign you the population cost.
Well, I assumed it would be whatever city you upgraded in, but
you don't have to upgrade in the city.
Unless they changed that rule and made it so that you had to go back to a city or an encampment or something like that in order to upgrade a unit, but I think that would be unnecessarily prohibitive.
You already have to go back to your own land.
Yeah, so you're in your own land, so it doesn't know what city.
Friendly or allied land.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Anyway, I was saying that I think you can also get upgrades in friendly and allied territory as well.
Yes.
I always thought it was... Okay, I thought it was only in Allied. Okay.
I've noticed that sometimes it's weird. Like I think I've seen like instances where like it wouldn't let me upgrade naval units in some cases, and I'm like, oh, we're friends or allies. I'm pretty sure I should be able to do this. But other than that, I'm pretty sure you can always do that. I don't think you can do it in city-state, in your suzerain city-states, though. But I could be wrong about that. So yeah, you don't have to send your swordsman back to a city in order to upgrade it. You can leave it in allied territory or something.
Did you find the governor stuff, Mackie?
Yeah, the list of the promotions there. Oops, and I put it on the wrong window. Again, I'm very good at this. I'm an experienced podcaster. So his initial promotion gives you plus 20 protection to all military units in the city. Then you can go down one side where you have Head Falconer that gives all friendly units fighting within the city territory plus 5 combat strength. And the next one I'm not going to try and pronounce, but it was when he's established in an allied foreign capital, the alliance leveling takes less time.
CanusAlbinus.
Okay, thank you. I'll let you pronounce it.
Yeah, you can take the hit, Canus.
Yeah,
Maggie doesn't want to.
You take the pronoun. Yeah.
The next one is Capo-Agaha.
Yeah. Well, it's also got the Saraskar on top of it.
Yes, Saraskar.
Yeah, which grants all units within 10 tiles of the city center plus 10 combat strength when attacking defensible districts. Yep. So that's good if you were on it to go. He has to go in the capital, so...
It goes in your own cities that are close to the battlefront.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you put it in your attacking city that you're attacking with. So it has that
makes more sense if he's on a frontline city. I was thinking if he was in the other capital for the other stuff and you had this, it's like, wait a minute. But no, it's just two different things.
He's versatile in that way. You can make him a diplomat or a war general generally. Basically.
I do like that can go both ways. So if you are in a peaceful game, he's not wasted.
Mm-hmm.
He also only takes 3 turns to establish, like Victor, so that helps.
Right. It also should be noted that all of I don't know if it's all the bonuses, but I think it's all the bonuses. Even if you give that governor to another civ, they actually get that bonus. That means that if you give it to a foreign nation, they are actually getting the 20% bonus toward unit production. And I think that's going to help with Diplo, actually.
Yeah, because the next one is also another one where it's established in a foreign capital. Your grievances against the city owner are reduced by 1 more per turn. So you send him over there, and it helps build their military. And then they're like, well, okay, you're not so bad. Since I play with the multiplayer so much, my first thought is, this is going to be great because everybody's going to shuffle around. Oh, and not everybody, but somebody's going to play Ottomans and then shuffle it around. And then somebody who's having trouble is going to get that extra production for their military and stuff. You know, it's actually very helpful in a cooperative multiplayer game too.
That'd be great for team games.
It can also sort of act as a secondary cultural alliance in terms of preventing loyalty between friends, because the final promotion.
On his last one, none of the owner cities exert loyalty pressure on your cities. Basically, you can get the cultural alliance without actually having to be at the status where you could get an alliance with that civ.
Yeah, that's true. Have it with two other civs, effectively.
But you can also use it as a way to prevent them from being able to loyalty flip you.
Well, that's why you would use it, yeah.
Well, I mean, for other reasons, I guess. I imagine there's Diplo reasons to do it, but maybe not.
Well, the Diplo reason is so you don't have to go to war with your ally to get your city back.
It'll probably also help if you're fighting in a common war and you're like conquering cities that belong to someone else that neighbors your allied civ. You won't have to worry about them.
So it won't flip over. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to flip that city after you conquered it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that would be another thing that'd be useful for. I could also see this maybe working in sort of like a world policeman kind of capacity if you do end up, for whatever reason, doing a peacemonger game where you're just using your military to like shut down other players' conquest. You could give this governor to a weaker civ so that they can build a stronger military to defend themselves.
Yeah.
In order to prevent a runaway or something. You know, if you don't have the military ability to confront them directly, you can hopefully give it to another civ so that they can slow that other steamrolling civ down. Of course, whether or not they actually use it to build military units, Well,
I mean, even without
you can't force them to build the military.
I mean, you're also giving them the other bonuses, which is the strength in defensible terrain and also better siege units. So that'll help them.
So if you are in one of those games where you're in and out of wars all the time and you just have that one civ that you're really good friends with who's your one trading partner and everyone else hates you, and then they all pick on that one civ, you can send him there and
be like, hey, buddy.
Right.
Hey,
I'm not going
buddy.
to send any units, but here, this will make your units better.
I have questions, because I don't use catapults that much, but with 10%, or not the 10%, but plus 10 bonus with catapults, are you more likely to build catapults now? Because usually I just build archers.
Well, it depends on how you're sieging the city, because from the live stream of the Ottomans, it was quite apparent that the catapult versus city walls that were relatively defensible did not do anywhere near as much damage as the Janissary with the battering ram.
Well, it was also a strength 60 city, and then next was an 80 city, so like it was a really, really high strength city.
But by the time the Renaissance comes around, that's what the city strengths are going to be. So
Not updated by then. You should be very close to bombards by the time talking city strength 60 to 80, if you don't already have bombards.
Yeah, I don't understand why he didn't have bombards.
Siege units would also be much better if they added a medieval like trebuchet or something, so that when the AIs do, or your opponents do get up to medieval walls, your catapults don't suddenly become useless.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can still upgrade it, and bombards will still have the plus 10.
Yeah, it's very odd that we don't have trebuchets, because we've had them for so many times before, and like, where are they?
Well, and they're in the opening cinematics for the game, so at least for the, I think the Rise and Fall expansion has a siege, and they're shooting trebuchets, and I thought for sure that meant, this means there's going to be trebuchets in the game, and no, not yet.
No,
But apparently no.
That's going to be in a DLC for $5.
this is a DLC, though.
No, I'm talking about just like DLC specifically for a trebuchet.
You got to get the trebuchet from a loot box. That's where the industry's going.
No, not loot box.
So far, Civ has avoided that, thank goodness.
Yes, amen.
Well, I was about to talk about the constant $5 DLC.
That we haven't had for almost a year and a half now.
No, I was actually going to refer to Civ 5, but Civ 6 has been a little better.
Yeah, Civ 5, they kept throwing out like the map packs and stuff like that too.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so what else do the Ottomans have?
Well, they've got units. I like the idea of the Corsair because it comes earlier and it helps pillage stuff a little better. I don't usually build privateers, though.
I love privateers.
Isn't it just later era version of the Viking longboat?
Probably.
So it's a duplicate, so Norway is even more useless.
Well, do keep in mind, though, that there are not any medieval naval units. So having an earlier naval unit will allow you to potentially dominate the seas because everyone else just has galleys and triremes or Viking longships.
Yeah, right. But because they are basically the same ability as the longship, they are much better.
Yeah, they're better class. relative to era.
Right, but and I think its placement, in where you get it in, or when you get it in the game, is probably what's going to make it the most valuable.
Yeah.
I was really hoping that they'd add a medieval naval unit or two, and I was specifically hoping for just the Corsair to be a unit that everybody has access to, but that's unfortunately not the case. But I look forward to using this in games as the Ottomans. That'll be fun, because this is I do really like privateers. One of my favorite things to do in the game is when I get up to having privateers and rangers, I like to just have my privateer escort the ranger across the map and go find all those little barbarian encampments that spawn, on the poles and on little islands out in the middle of nowhere that nobody's colonized yet, just for the, free gold.
On the Arctic barrier islands.
Yeah, because normally I don't build privateers, but I also think I'm losing a lot of gold from those tribal huts and all that stuff by not doing that.
You can also get tribal huts as well if there's any left in the game. Do we know for sure if this can go in oceans, the Barbary Corsair?
Yes.
Yes, it does.
Cool.
So it makes it also, a point where you can find your neighbors pretty early.
Right, you might get this out even before caravels.
That's a good reason. Even if you're playing peacefully, you can get a couple of them out to meet the neighbors.
Coastal raids also do not incur movement cost.
Yes, it's a meat in scare quotes.
Oops, was that your trade route? My bad.
Oopsie doops.
Pretty map, but
Well, and also because of the pillaging change, that's actually a lot of resources you can get from it.
Yeah, that's assuming that the coastal raids scale similarly to pillaging. I would assume they do.
Oh, I'm
but
sure
it is a
they do.
slightly different.
They did show that in the stream, so yeah.
And yeah, you can also use the coastal raids for taking out barbarian encampments that are on the coast, and also for claiming tribal villages. So
that helps. Then we got the Dannisaries.
Dannisary.
Yeah, okay. So you would want to be able to get the Dannisary out, and in order to do that, you kind of need to. Well, I guess I would originally have said, look, you need to take out a neighbor as soon as possible so that you can build them, because otherwise you can't build them because you can't do it in friendly territory. But now that you can
get an early city state.
Yeah, that's true too. You can take a city state out. But yeah, now that we know that you can just upgrade them from swordsmen, that gives a little more options on that. Though yeah, I guess you still need the Niter because you would need that. But yeah, they're actually pretty strong units. I don't remember all the bonuses they have.
And I wouldn't be surprised if at some point they, patch out the upgrade from swordsmen.
Really? Because they put in the stream, they made it so you actually didn't remove the swordsman because they wanted to make sure that you could have the swordsman and the Dannisary just in case.
Yeah, I'm surprised that what they didn't do is make this not replace the musketman, so it's a unit that you build in addition to musketmen, because some other civs have unique units that are like that, where they don't replace a unit, they're just in addition to the regular units, and then you would have to build them from scratch. I'm surprised they didn't do that with this particular characteristic of this unit.
I am surprised as well. I'm kind of hoping this means that they're going to go back and go to some of the earlier base units that you had to build from scratch, like the Winged Hussar and all that, which were a pain in the to build. Hopefully they're changing that. I don't know.
And I think in the last episode we said unique units do now cost resources.
Yes.
Right?
Which is probably one of the reasons they decided not to just go away with swordsmen. It's like you can upgrade both just in case the Niter is not enough. And that's good because I would not want to have to hard build Dannisaries. Overall, I think the strength, does anyone else have anything to say on that?
No, just that I'm glad that there's a way to get them built without necessarily sacrificing your population. Build the Sora's upgrade later.
Yeah, God, because like the first time I heard that and it's saying like, you lose a population every time you build one. It's like, they better be really strong then.
Either really strong or you've got an alternate method for us to do this because wow.
What they
holy crap.
What they could have done is made it so that raising cities takes a certain number of turns, like the way it worked in Civ 5, and then you just build your Janissaries while you're raising the city.
They also get a free promotion on upgrade from swordsman,
which is good. The melee line is always good.
Yeah, that says to me they knew we would be more likely to take the swordsman upgrade route.
Did we mention the Grand Bazaar?
No, we had not.
And
yeah, it requires a commercial hub and a market. It's a unique one. Accumulate one extra strategic resource for every different type of strategic resource that the city has improved. And you also receive +1 luxury for every luxury resource the city has improved.
Yes, for each one, which means if you have a lot of them, that helps.
Ooh,
so bye-bye amenity problems.
Yeah, seriously, wow.
Also, Suleiman's what is it? Diplomatic flavor ability, I forget the name of that. He likes players who have cities that were not founded by themselves.
Right.
So translation, he likes you to conquer the crap out of everything.
There is something that I want to say about the bazaar change is because one of the reasons that the amenity thing is going to be so good is because you don't lose pop from taking cities as the Ottomans.
Oh.
If it's a pop 10 city and you take it, then it's still pop 10.
So if you're making the mistake of conquering a lot of cities and then building your Janissaries in your own cities, you're going to have huge conquered cities and tiny native cities.
Oops. That's bad for my culture, isn't it?
Well, my capital's at 1 population, but all my conquered cities are at 20, so
Fine.
it'll be fine.
It's really going to be dependent on the amount of hammers that the land has to work with when you start. Because if you're starting in plains and you need to take another civ as soon as possible, and it's Macedon or Aztec or something like that, then it's going to be tough. It's going to be a lot more tough than other starts. Yeah, I think the capital is going to be really dependent on how strong the Ottomans are going to be. Because I think you can have an awful Ottomans game if you're just stuck in mainly grasslands and plains and not enough hills.
What's production?
That's production. You want that before the Renaissance so that you can smash things with Dannisaries.
Yeah. So you get to smashing the better.
There's a lot more ways to conquer your enemies with the Ottomans.
It's not like, you get a swordsman and here's some amenities and whatever.
I don't think they'll be top tier, but they'll be fun to play, which is probably the better design choice.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think they're as strong as others, but I think I would be much more willing to play with them. I almost said work with them, which is not exactly the same thing.
Well, you might want to do that too, because they might send you that shiny governor of theirs. It would be really nice if there were a way to, if you're not playing as the Ottomans, and the Ottomans are in your game and you're friendly or allied with them, it would be really nice if the game included a way to ask them to send you that governor.
Oh, yeah.
I really wish there were ways for you to ask for other civs to send you missionaries and stuff like that.
Oh, that's a really good idea. If the Ottomans aren't using it and you're like, oh my god, I'm about to get attacked and I really need that production. Can you help me out?
Yeah, it'd be cool if they could add that to the trade screen or something like that. You give them a bunch of gold or diplomatic favor or resources or whatever, and it's like, bring me that governor, baby.
Can I hire your governor, please?
Yeah, can I hire your governor, please?
That'll be 500 gold, sir.
And then, there's other legacy civs, like I think India, where you want other civs to send you missionaries, and Congo, where you want other players missionaries, and then, it always so happens whenever you play as those civs, nobody wants to send you any missionaries. And you're like, please?
Or you're last on the list.
Because they have that discuss option in the diplomacy screen. Let's use that for something constructive, other than making promises that the AIs will never agree to or uphold.
Actually, that makes a perfect segue because our next topic is ideas for additional diplomatic interactions in Civ 6.
Yeah, I read that. Some of them were pretty good.
Hey, I haven't introduced the topic yet.
I'm just saying they were good. How would you like to talk about how good they were?
Introduction complete.
So basically the idea is we got a lot of interesting things from previous Civs that we would like to see or have added to Civ 6, things like state religion or state ideology, modified a bit from Civ 4 and Civ 5 because they were a little bit overpowering. And then third-party peace deals, which we've always been able to do. Pacts of secrecy, something that makes it actually do something. No idea how that would actually behave because we never knew what it was supposed to do in the first place. And then multilateral military alliances that become available with something like Cold War give us a chance to have more than one military ally or have big nation blocks that fight each other. City-state protectorate, give it a chance to pledge to protect city-states and actually have a way to say, hey, Civ, stop doing that to my city-state, and then bring back Dan's old favorite, city-state bullying. The next one on this list is a little bit weird because city-state quests actually exist already, but they want ones like they are in Civ 5 and that punish the player if they don't get fulfilled.
I don't know so much about that one. That seems... some of those conditions is you can get them, but sometimes you have to go out of your way for it. And I don't get why you're punishing for that quest. Those quests are not meant to be... It's an additional bonus if you can complete those quests. It's not. I don't think they were ever intended to be something that you would want to punish people for not doing. Because does the AI get something like that if they complete a quest?
They get an envoy.
Okay, but so they can still do it too. So it's not like it's a human only thing. And I don't see why you don't want punishment for that. Honestly,
I liked a lot of the ones that Monster Cat actually brought up.
I do actually miss the Pacts of Secrecy. I would like to see something like that come back. back. Maybe not the exact same thing since it didn't work too great in Civ 5, but I think the concept of being able to agree with another player that, hey, we don't like this third Civ, let's team up against him, that's a really great thing. And I think it would work really well with the espionage systems because, you have the potential for like spies to discover that other Civs are conspiring against you, and, that can create some drama, and then you can maybe go to them and like threaten them or,
Yeah, Pact of Secrecy, it would have to be called something else. It can't be called Pact of Secrecy because it's a joke now to be called it Pact of Secrecy. But
just call it conspiracy.
Yeah,
No.
like a conspiracy plot.
That's why it would be great.
Well, so is poison water supply at this point.
Joint statement that CivX sucks.
I actually like the poison supply one, except Monster Cat did say one that I would change. What this is spy action. If a city has fresh water, can reduce its city's population and health, but has heavy diplo penalties. I don't like the idea of taking a pop away, but I would like the idea of modifying that to prevent growth for a certain amount of turns.
Or maybe something like all tiles produce -1 food, so it doesn't necessarily take pop away, but it's going to make them harder to maintain their pop for that duration.
As long as it's not taking away a pop, I don't like that. But something that slows down growth. I would.
With the new disasters and environmental effects, something like knocking out fresh water supply could actually be more valuable in Gathering Storm than it was in Vanilla or Rise and Fall.
I thought you were going to go with something like forcing a volcano to erupt or something.
Oh, no.
This isn't
That's a
Star
future
Trek.
era tech.
I mean, maybe, you just drop a nuclear suitcase in the volcano and oops.
Oh,
Whoopsie
this is
does.
like every bad sci-fi movie. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, here's my Dr. Doom plot.
Also on the list, steal nuclear device, spy action, heavy chance of being caught, really heavy diplo penalty if caught, but if you succeed, you get a nuclear device.
Or alternatively, a weaker version where you sabotage someone else's nuclear device.
Stuxnet anyone?
So it just knocks that out of commission. So instead of necessarily stealing it.
I like the ask about, which is about revealing Civ relationships if you're with another Civ, if you're allied with a Civ who knows that, because that's sort of something we already do in TurnCast, and it would be nice that we can do that with the AIs as well.
Personally, I'd just like a diplomacy screen that actually told us this stuff because we should know it.
Well, there is.
I mean, we had it in
mod.
Civ 4. It was called the what was it called? The relations manager or something. But it told you what everybody thought of everybody else, and it told
like
you
the web of colored lines between all the different Civs.
Yeah.
You could make a better implementation than that.
Well,
but
yeah.
even Civ 5 had a better one, even though it wasn't that great.
Though Civ 6 does have that. If you go into a Civ's leader screen, it does show the relationships. It's really difficult because it's a lot of clicks to do that, which is why it sucks, but that actually is already there.
Give me a Secretary of State.
Like, have a proper screen showing all those at once at a glance.
Yeah, like, what's it called? The user interface mod, because I'm using that, and that shows it quite easily, but no, it doesn't show it quite right.
And now is the point where we talk about how the UI needs help.
Well, I mean, I am here, and the
It
MeInTeam
does.
is here.
Yeah, it would also be nice to be able to. I miss the ability to ask for promises like before the Civ does the thing that they're promising not to do. Because in Civ 6 right now, it's all reactionary. You have to wait for them to forward settle that city next to you before you can ask them to please not do that anymore. At which point it's moot because they've already done it. Whereas I'm pretty sure in Civ 5, if you just saw that settler coming by, you could be like, "Whoa, hold on, don't even think
What's
about it."
this?
Yeah, don't do it.
Excuse me.
Don't worry, we're just passing through the area.
And that's gone.
You were right to worry. It's time for you to die.
And that would be a good thing with this new the thing that's replacing the warmonger system.
Grievances.
Yeah, grievances.
Yeah, that would probably work really well with this new grievance system because if the other Civs make promises, if you ask them to make promises and they break them or don't do them, that's a grievance. So like you would need to have a way to do that. Otherwise, other Civs will all have grievances against you, but you won't be able to have any grievances against them.
Yeah, I would hope that there's more diplomatic interactions since there's going to be a diplomatic victory.
And a World Congress.
And a world. First time I heard that there was going to be a new World Congress into Civ 6, I'm like, if we get out of this. But I'm liking it so far.
Who cares what the global community thinks? I have nukes.
Oh, the grim method of diplomacy.
a brief one. Apparently somebody played 500 hours of Civ 6 and was surprised to see in the Switch version a city-state raise another city-state. I was not aware that city-states would do that.
They raise everything they take.
They raise everything, including my cities in TurnCast. When I wasn't paying attention.
Has anyone seen a city-state take a capital? Because they're legally not allowed to raise that, right? So they would have to keep it.
I'm not sure I've ever seen that in Civ 6.
I'm sure it could be engineered, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I've ever seen a city-state take another city in Civ 6 at all. Like, I might have and just not noticed it because they do raise it, so, like, it's gone before I noticed that it had been captured.
I've lost one to a city-state when I just wasn't paying attention. You mix some alcohol and your main front is somewhere else, and then they take a city you didn't really care about, but... Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about a capital. I'm sure they can take them, because I know that they can just take regular cities and burn them down because it's happened to me.
I would assume they would just have to keep the capital city if they captured it somehow.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I think we talked about this like way back in Civ 5 too, the idea of just a massive city-state.
I would see that a lot in Civ 5, like especially when there'd be like some continent like something along the lines of Greenland, like out in the middle of like nowhere, and there were just like 3 city-states or something like that on that continent, and no other civs had like touched it until they all got to caravels, and like the city-states would just be going back and forth conquering each other's cities.
I think that did happen a lot in Civ 5, but I don't remember.
According to the thread, they wipe AI players off the map.
Wow.
That's good.
But does that mean that they raised the city or that the AI is just gone? Because
I think it means they raised the city, because I can remember I was playing a game right when Civ 6 came out where I was doing the huge map as Victoria, and I couldn't find Spain's capital because it had been raised.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I guess they can do that. Because, yeah, they are coded to only raise, if I recall.
Oh, wait, are you allowed to raise capitals in 6? I
Not
forget
normally.
Not normally, but I guess city-states can.
Oh, okay.
And it didn't cause
that would be a nice way to cherry tap someone to death rather than taking it yourself. You just hold them down until the city-state finishes the deed. Save no cities left on the map.
Yeah, and then you don't have aggression modifier on that.
That's true, I guess.
I would also wonder what that would do to the domination victory with a capital city actually removed from the game.
It just removed the one required, so it was 11 out of 12 instead of 12 out of 12.
Well, at least they, accounted for that, and it doesn't make the game like unfinishable.
Yeah.
I wonder what difficulty these people are playing on who are seeing these things happen, because my experience is pretty much always that AIs conquer city-states like 20 or 30 turns into the game.
Yeah.
Well,
if there's a war, they do stockpile their units to make sure they can go out there if they want to.
Looking at the screenshot, it's in French, which is a little bit difficult for me to read, but apparently on turn 108, they had 16 science and 13 culture, so probably not a particularly high difficulty.
Yeah.
Or they were just having too much trouble getting beaten back by the city-states.
It doesn't look like it. They've got at least 5 cities.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe the Twitch has the Switch has different scaling. Who knows?
I would be surprised if they rewrote that much.
I do own the Switch version, but I don't play it very often because it eats the battery.
I think what I heard
there's no
was
way
that
the AI changes between difficulty.
Call in today.
In North America, the number is 301-637-7659. That's 301-637-POLY.
In Europe, 44121-288-7659. That's 44121-288-POLY.
The only thing worse than being talked about is not being talked about.
For more information on PolyCast,
our sibling shows,
or about PolyCast in general,
log on to the series' official website at
thepolycast.net.
The Mounties get mad.
Yeah, no littering. You pick that up, or I get a +5 combat bonus against you. Well, since I guess we're talking about editing this down, I guess we should probably draw this to a close, maybe?
We've only broken 102 minutes.
Yeah. So, thank you for listening to PolyCast episode 330. I've been MegaBearsFan, along with Canus.
Canus something?
That Mike Russell was not me.
Makahlua.
Always caffeinated.
TheMeInTeam.
always utilizing tasteful strategies.
And guest host Drusain.
Remember, kids, if you see something, slay something.
Oh my.